Hello students, this is another class for first year English Lenguas Vivas. In this case we are going to talk about subject and object questions, another language point included in unit number 1 of the book Speak Out Intermediate. Well, we have different kinds of questions in English, as for example the yes-no questions, the WH questions, direct or indirect questions. But in this case, we are going to deal with subject and object questions because they are completely different, but you have to take into account that they are used in specific verb tenses. First, you have to know or to recognize what is a subject and the object in a sentence. And then we are going to deal with the subject and object questions. The subject is the doer of the action. That is to say, the person or thing that performs the action. And the object is the person or thing that is acted upon or receives the action. For example, in this one, smoking causes cancer. So smoking is the subject and cancer is the object. This is in the present tense. There are different structures that we have to respect. In the object questions, so most questions in English are object questions. And they follow this formula, the QUASM. What is this? Question word plus auxiliary verb plus subject plus main verb. For example, what do you want to drink? Or where did you go last night? We have the question word, the auxiliary, the subject, and the main verb, and then the complement. This is the structure of all object questions. Of course, in the present or in the past, what we need is the auxiliary verb, in this case, do or did. In object questions, we want to know about the receiver of the action. For example, what do you want to drink? Well, I want some juice. So, the question is about the object and not the subject. But in subject questions, we are going to deal just with simple present and simple past, and I will explain later why the other verb tenses are not included. For example, in subject questions, we want to know about the subject, and we are not going to use the auxiliaries do, does, or did. For example, look at this question. Who wants to drink water? Me, for example, or Peter. Who wrote King Lear? Shakespeare. Who likes English? Well, I suppose that everybody likes English. As you can see, we have the question word and immediately the verb in the present or in the past. So, in this case, the structure changes because we have the auxiliary verb and what it follows is practically an affirmative sentence because who here is playing the role of the subject. Who wants, who wrote, who likes. These subject questions are just for the simple present and the simple past. Why in the other verb tenses this is not possible? Because in the other verb tenses we have the verb to be in the present or in the past, or we have the different forms of the verb have, which is also an auxiliary. For example, in present continuous, past continuous, present perfect continuous, and so on and so forth, or past perfect, we are going to use the same structure for object and subject questions. For example, look at this subject question. Who is washing the car? So Peter is, but the structure is as an interrogative. Why? Because we have the auxiliary. In this case, the verb tense present continuous has an auxiliary. Or who has been missing classes recently? Or what is Paul washing? That would be an object question. For example, look at this difference. Who is washing the car? Paul is. Or what is Paul washing? He's washing the car. Who has been missing classes recently? Or what have you been doing these days? So the difference of the subject question and the object questions in the other tenses is connected with the question word you are going to use. Who or what? Remember, the subject questions with this characteristic of using directly the verb is only for the present and past simple. And you may be asking yourself at this moment of this explanation, when do we have to ask subject or object questions, or how do I realize what kind of question is? It is very simple. Look at this. You have to ask yourself, am I asking about the doer of the action or the receiver? So if you are asking about the doer, you have to use the subject question. If you are using or if you are thinking of the receiver, you have to use the object questions. But remember, in the present simple and in the simple past, you are not going to use the auxiliary, and after the interrogative word, you are going to use the verb as if it was an affirmative sentence. In the adverb tenses, it is different because they keep the formula of a WH question. That is to say, the question word, the auxiliary verb, and the main verb. That is the structure of the object questions. The difference here is that you are going to use who for subject questions and what for object questions. For more activities, you can check the page. Thank you.